Hello guys, and welcome to my new version of how I use Manga Studio for debut. So I know I've done this before, and sorry for the noise if you hear that noise. The neighbors are cleaning their backyards. So I know I've done this before, but I want to show you the new things I've learned since then, since the last time I did a tutorial. So yeah, I want to help you guys, and since I have a new cell phone, I'm taking advantage of it so I can show you a technique if you don't have the papers, to do manga or comics. So I just want to show you a little trick. And I've been doing it for years, like since I was a little girl. And so yeah. So this is just a simple paper, printed paper. So what I do, sorry, yeah, it has a drawing on it. You just fold it in half. Just take it like this, and when you have it well folded, you cut it in half so you have two papers you can draw on. I know it's small, but it actually works, since if you're gonna put it on Manga Studio, it doesn't matter how small the paper is. All the details are gonna be done in digital. So yeah, this is a little tip, and I'm gonna be showing you how I did this page. It's already done, but I just want to show you how to do it, because I really I just like doing it. Sorry, I don't really know what to say, but yeah. So before I start, I want to show you something. It's a wrong back microphone. I hope the audio sounds well this time with this. So let's see how it goes, and let's do it. Okay, welcome to Manga Studio Debut 4, and I'm gonna do a little review about the interface. So as you can see, here we have the tool window, all the tools we're gonna be using, materials, the properties, the tool options, and the layers. So here we have the page I was talking about. And so before we start doing the panels, inking, I just want to show you something that it's very important in my occasions, or in other people's occasion. Okay, when you make a new page, we go to custom page. Here we can customize the default pages that are already made. Let's say a B4. I want the frames of a B5, B6. You can do all this, but you can also manipulate it yourself. Just for the heck of it. And I prefer to put these lines, the ones I move in the basic frame, a little bit closer to the end of the template, just a little bit close to the end of the template, like over here. So when you do the drawings, you can just get to here, let's say draw till here, and then so the most important things have to be inside the blue line, the basic frame, so nothing gets lost when it's printed. So let's say I'm gonna use my own template. My sister made it, so I'm not actually sure how she, the sizes and all, they're all here, but I didn't do it. My sister did, and it works just fine. It's perfect for my occasion, when I print comics. So let's start now with the inking and all that. So this is something I learned recently, so it's very useful. So let's say let me delete this. we're gonna make panels. So the best way to do them is create a new layer, and the layer type has to be panel ruler layer. So now we click OK, and so this blue light appear inside the basic panel, the basic frame. And we're going to manipulate this square. So with this, with the object selector, we're going to select the edges. They're going to be red when you select them, and you can manipulate them. So now we're going to put them where the panels are. So I'm going to just put this one over here and put them high and put them wherever I want. And just position them depending on how you drew them in the page, in the paper. And so now, next step is to cut these panels and make them into panels. So now we're gonna cut them with this tool called Panel Ruler Cutter. So literally you're just gonna cut these panels like this. This line's appeared. You can put, you can do this wherever you want. When pressing shift, it's gonna make a straight line. And there you have it. You cut a panel, and now you have 2 panels. You keep cutting. You have now 3 panels. Now you have 4, and you can do as many as you want. And then manipulate them individually. You can just, or when you press shift, select another edge and move them together. So now we have our panels. And when you make this panels and go to properties and go to panel ruler, they're always going to be in 1.00 mm, the line width. I always put it in 50, and you always have to press apply settings to ruler, because if you don't, they're not going the change won't be applied. So see how thin they put. Okay, so when you finished your panels, just go to the layer window. There's a section called ruler. Just right click on the panel ruler layer and rasterize layer. And you just click yes, because if something goes wrong in the raster layer, you can always go back and change it and fix it. So let's press yes. And here you have your panel already done. So just put them, when you put them above the sketch, this is what happens. This section is white and this part is empty. So inside the panel, there's nothing. Like, you can see what you're going to put on the panels. So now that the panels are done, let's go to the inking part. I delete this panel because I already made mine. So here I have my panel. This is my panel. So you can go out of the line just in case. So what we have here, you see I did this. All I did is erase this part of, I erased the white part of this, the panel, so I can put our hand outside the panel. So if you want things outside the panel, you can just erase this. And it's very simple, so you don't have to complicate things. So let's go and review the inking options. So here we have the pen tool options. I normally don't use any of these, and just depending. I use this 2.00 size and the G pen. So basically I just go like this. If you want, pretty lines in the hair especially, I use these two marked, sometimes just 1. So the hair can look very pretty in the end. Or if you shake a lot, you can use correction so it will correct you while you ink. Like, let's try to scribble. It kind of tries to fix it, but it works. I don't use it because I don't know. When I want to do a line, it just makes it different, and I don't like it. So let's go to the ink layer. Put a line art. Yeah, it looks weird over here because I moved her, so I could do to make her a little, go a little bit higher, because it looks weird in all this blank space. So now we can hide this sketch layer, and now we can go to toning. So I didn't learn new things about tones, but I have them here, and they're pretty easy to use. Just make sure you select everything. Let's Control A, and there you have selection. And here you can find all the tones you have, the defaults. I already have my own folder. You can create it and just go to basic tones, screen, just dots, lines, ellipse. There are many kinds of tones, but I normally use dots for clothing and all that. I normally use the 65, or you can always edit the number of the amounts of dots. So let's choose this one, and let's put a 30. Apply. It would apply to the whole thing, but you just press delete. And so we go to this, let's put it down here, and start, with the bucket. Start inking. When this happens, you just have a line, an open line. So just use the pen on the same layer as the tone, and just cover it up, and use the bucket again. There we go, we fixed it. And the same thing here. So there are many kinds of tones, so you can just later on check them out. And so now I'm gonna show you all the tones I used in this page. So there are quite a lot. This is a weird thing because I used the bucket with all the bubbles done. So let's say I'm gonna do a bubble, those speech bubbles. I don't do them manually, so if you want to do it manually, just create a new layer and draw the bubbles. But when you move aside, you see this arrow, the beginner's assistance, pull it out and go to the character and all the algot bubbles, balloons. There are a lot of speech bubbles here. You can just click and drag or double click and paste material, and now you can work with this. And then you see it's under the panel layer, so you can just put it up, and it comes up like this. And the cool thing about this, I thought you couldn't do the line to just see how people talk. So all you gotta do is go to text here in properties. Well, let's put this normal, blah blah blah, and go to dialog balloon settings. And these are the curves of the tail of the speech bubble. You can just stretch or curved. So when we do it, let's do it curvy. This mouse turns like this. Just click and drag, and then stretch to make the curve however you want. And here's the tail. You can manipulate it with the squares. It's pretty pretty easy to use. It's user friendly. It's very cool, actually. So here we have our balloon. You can put balloons under below the panel if you don't want them to be seeing the whole thing. If you want to manipulate the bubble, you can do that. You know, put them smaller, thinner. So put them below so they won't be seen. Okay, so let's turn on the bubbles I made. I'm not sure if I should. Here we have 2 empty bubbles. And here we have the other bubbles. See, this is a trick I learned by myself, but just kind of like thought about it. When you do use the bubbles that are already made with the program, and you want to put 2 bubbles together, but you can't. I'm not sure if it's possible, but for now you can't. So what I do is create a new layer. Let's create a new layer above the bubbles and use the pen and use the white ink and just like cover it up. And we have 2 bubbles in one. So yeah. And now we can finish toning, a few other tones. And this is basically it, what I've learned so far. There's nothing in there, so yeah. You can play with all the panels. You can, it's tricky, but it's possible. You can do whatever you want. But yeah, this is how I do it so far. And if you remember the last tutorial, when I export it, I had to select from here to here, select from the basic frame. But now I don't have to do that. That's why I put this a little bit closer to the end of the template. So all I have to do is just export pixel and, grayscale entire page. Anything else, put JPEG. You can put them in Photoshop if you want to paint it. And then just put it wherever you want. And that's basically it. You don't have to select like I did the last tutorial, but it's pretty easy. So let's put the other 2. So here you see these things. I just did the empty bubbles over here. These bubbles are empty. So all I did is use a new layer and draw the question mark and the bubbles. I always do this because when you type, it looks pretty weird. So I draw them myself. So yeah, this is the page. I hope I don't spoil anything here. So I'm going to take it away quickly. And so we're going to Photoshop. So we're going to Photoshop just in case you want to put it in a web page. So I'm just going to look for it. Let's see. So here we have the entire page. It's pretty. So let's say you want to put it on a line. If you want to change the size, just crop here. I don't know the name of the crop tool. You can use the crop tool. And just crop it from wherever you want. This is if you want to put it online. If you want. I don't know. And then you resize it. It's pretty huge. That's a good thing. Because if you want to print it, you have to have it really big. So all the details will look really perfect. So let's resize it to, I always do this. Okay, 1.8. And then resize it again to 5.63. And there we have it. We have resized the page and it looks good for a webcomic. So this is it. This is as far as I can show you. I show you the new tips and I hope it works as well as it works for me. So I hope this have helped you a lot. And thank you very much for watching this video. And if you have any questions, just post a comment and I'll respond as quickly as possible. So I hope this worked for you and thank you for your time.